Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Well, I get through my 30 seconds, but you notice what I put in my thumbnail. BRUNSON Notice 2.0, question mark, and Mr. T giving a little wink. What's that all about? He went on a storm of truths, and a lot of more positive. But man, it took me a half hour to go through them, and I saw something surprising. Did you all go through Mr. T's truths today on Truth Social? When have we ever had any kind of a platform where the President of the United States or a former President of the United States put out messages to people every day? Sometimes 20 or 30 messages, and where you can respond back directly to a DM to a president of the United States or the former president of the United States. It's amazing what times we're living in. So anyway, let's see who's coming in. I saw Nikki's here. Nice to see you, Nikki. White Lightning, Randy, 1176, Damon, hi, Linda, TJ Katz, Cliff, how you doing? Ingrid, SM, Henri gave me a thumbs up, yay. So Cliff says it's time for a change. Joe's diaper, that's probably 3 times a day. 3 times a day, Cliff, Joe's diaper. Who's got diaper duty? SM, how are you? Randy, yeah, Mike Lindell had his show on tonight, today, and he put out a plan. He told everybody he's got these gadgets where they can see in real time, real crime. So there's a lot of pressure on it. And it's something that he wasn't mentioned. Now, he could be an unindicted co-conspirator, but we haven't seen him mentioned, and we haven't seen Lynn Wood mentioned. He's laying low. We haven't heard much out of him at all. How you doing, Rubber Toe? Lone Wolf, how you? Let's see. Pappy Two Bears, nice to see you. Yeah, I was watching on Frank's Beach. Hi, Outlandish. Awaken Trillium. Oh, Deborah says a judge dismissed a tax charge. Well, they have to dismiss it because they're taking it out of Delaware. The charges no longer exist. They're going to charge him somewhere else. California or what was the other? Some other state. I don't know. Chris, how you doing? It ain't going away. The crimes are out there, and they're not going away. Hi, Joel. Hi, Ann. Whoa, let's see. Yeah, that's right. It is amazing we have that connection. How you doing, Marla? Jax, how you doing, Jax? Hey, I'm sorry about last night. I heard I was rapping at the end. There was some kind of on Utizzle, some kind of interruption in my signal. It kept going on Bumble, but I wasn't getting any feedback whatsoever. I don't know if y'all could hear me or not. So anyway, we had fun, right? And as they say, tomorrow is another day. My dad used to say that a lot. How you doing? Rebecca Ann, how are you? Deborah, as they say, tomorrow is another day. So, Ann, nice to see you. Joel, Crypto Cats, nice to see you all. Well, I tell you, boy, we got a lot of people in quick. Hi, Deborah. We got a lot of people coming in quick. So anyway, did anybody get a chance to go through Mr. T's truths that he put out? I keep wanting to say the other word, TWEES, T, but I gotta say truths. But anyway, Mr. T had a bunch of them he put out. I mean, a pile of. And he retrued some stuff that things were putting up. People, women for Trump, a lot of those, and things like that. And he also put up some interesting ones from Mike Davis, who already told us he's going to be Mr. T's Attorney General, Mike Davis. So he put up some interesting truths about that Mike Davis put up, and he also put up some truths from Marjorie Taylor Greene concerning her husband's experience in Georgia. And also, he retweeted something a lot of us have not had on our minds. Let me see here. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was talking about when her former husband went to vote. And he also put up something about Bill Barr, but I'll get to that in a minute. But the first thing she put up, whoa, I didn't drop off, did I? Hope not. The first thing she put up was proof of election fraud. And Mr. T retruthed her. In Georgia, 2020, Green went to vote. He was told the SOS website showed he already voted by absentee ballot. What? What do you mean I voted absentee ballot? Perry never requested an absentee ballot, never turned one in, and was forced to stand in line, capital letters, with people saying the same thing, to sign an affidavit to surrender an absentee ballot, quote, surrender an absentee ballot he never had and did not have in his possession so he could vote in person on another ballot. And with that very same post, she put a picture up of the affidavit that he signed. And also a letter from the County Board of Elections. So, okay, I said, well, that's interesting. And there were a lot of other tweets from Mr. T, which I'll get into in a little bit. Letters from Mike Davis and things of that nature. But then he put up another post by Marjorie Taylor Greene about Bill Barr. Bill Barr's a traitor. I'm glad he was, capital letters, fired. Bill Barr had the FBI FD 1023 form from the informant telling that Joe Biden took a $5 million bribe while VP from the oligarch who owns Burisma. So, yeah, that looks a little rough. The form is dated 6/30/2020. That's about 4 months before Barr resigned. 3 to 4 months before Barr resigned. Barr could have prosecuted. Yeah, 3 months. Barr could have prosecuted Joe Biden and stopped him from never becoming president, essentially stopping a stolen election. Barr did nothing with the FBI 1023 form and information the FBI paid $200,000 for. He gave it to David Weiss, and they buried the truth. David Weiss is the one they've appointed as a, quote, special counsel, which technically he's not even that, but he's the one who was trying to do that blanket plea deal that got rejected by the judge in Delaware. So we see that timeline, 6/30, and Barr resigned sometime in December. So you had it was about 5 months, before Barr resigned. So anyway, so I said, "Oh, that's interesting," and I'm going through other stuff, and then Mr. T put up a truth that said it had a video, and of course, I can't play it for you, but big quote from the video is Mr. T saying, "I think that crooked Joe Biden is not only dumb and incompetent, he has gone, capital letters, mad, a stark raving lunatic." And I said, "Wow, that's pretty strong stuff there." Let me see who all's coming in. Let's see. Camperman's here, Double Odd Bucks here. Hi, Ann. How you doing? Promoting the Kool-Aid again in Canada. Yeah, just keep praying, Ann. You gotta when you least expect it, somebody will come along. You all can support. FHL, how you doing? Let's see. Oh, my chats sometimes it gets stuck. Right. Mike Mazza said Lloyd Brunson. We'll get to that in a second. Let me see who all's wandering in. How you doing, Gary? Whoa, and Jersey Joe, Gary, Double Lot, Nikki. Just make sure I got it. How you doing, MS Motorsports? So if I forgot anybody, please forgive me. If I missed anybody, I don't forget anybody. I miss them. Okay, so Paul, DJT put up another truth. I was like, man, how many did he put up today? Because I needed to go live, and I was going to do a conversation about the clerk of the court in Georgia, but I could do that next broadcast. I could talk about it a little bit tonight too. But all these truths from Mr. T when he was being fairly measured, he put out, I don't know how many, 20 or 30, I don't know. But Paul Sperry said abusing RICO enforcement could backfire on Dems. A second Trump administration / GOP administration could charge Willis, Bragg, Smith, Garland, and Biden with conspiring to sideline Trump with vexatious prosecutions and other covert acts of racketeering. All their comms would be subject to subpoenas and warrants. So Mr. T apparently agrees with that, and that will have them sweating bullets. And then that was followed up with a truth from Mike Davis. 5 current lawmakers, 5 current lawfare campaigns to, quote, get Trump. And he enumerates them, and I'll say them in abbreviated form. You got one, the New York AG, Tish James. She is got something on hold where they tried to say Trump defrauded the banks by lying about his real estate values. 2, you got Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, non-felony of settling a nuisance claim, namely Stormy. And 3, Fulton County DA Fannie Willis, non-felony of objecting to a presidential election permitted by the Electoral Count of 1887 and the First Amendment. Then you have number 4 is Garland, appointed by AG, appointed the special counsel Jack Smith, which is charging the same stuff what I mentioned earlier. So we've got redundant charges. And then 5, Garland special counsel Jack Smith, non-felony of former president having his presidential records in congressionally funded office of the former president, permitted by the Presidential Records Act. So those are the 5 things. They're all BS, and we know it. But he is just putting it on for the record. And how you doing, Ian? So the other thing that Mike Davis came up with was not a crime to object to presidential elections allowed by the Electoral Count of 1887, not a crime to twist political arms. Did Trump act within his official capacity? Well, yes, he did. Then he gets presidential immunity. Or did he act in his personal capacity? Well, if he did, he's protected by the First Amendment. Trump will prevail on these legal grounds. And, you know, I noticed on MSNBC, they put out a video. There's no way, so this is a paraphrase of it, no way Trump can win the primaries, but no way he will win a general election. They're trying to paint him out to be damaged goods, and there's no way he can win. They're already doing that, and it's called push polling. Push polling, which Trump has referenced in the past and noted it is illegal to manipulate polls in a federal election. So the stuff coming out of MSNBC is going to be looked at very strongly, as Mr. T likes to say. But Cat Turd was re-truthed by Mr. T, where Mr. T said the only crime committed was Biden's use of the DOJ and FBI to practice massive election interference. And what Cat Turd put up said, this is from the New York Times. The entire country knows it's a sham. And it is a poll from the New York Times about whether or not Mr. T committed serious crimes. And the New York Times has not been Mr. T friendly, right? Hi, Mary, how are you doing? Oh, Cliff, I played where Garland's son-in-law was brought up by Rudy Giuliani. Watched yesterday's broadcast, and he said, I want to find out what he's doing, getting kids to question their gender and making millions of dollars. So that's going to be brought up. But those that said he committed serious crimes, according to this New York Times poll, July 23rd through 27th, those who committed serious crimes, said he committed serious crimes, was 17%. Those that said he did not commit serious crimes, 71%. And those who don't know, get that, say 12%. That's 12%. So it's an overwhelming number of people who don't take this situation seriously. And that is very encouraging. And I, even though that is a anti-Trump bunch, it's very encouraging. But they're going to be putting out these phony polls like the one on MSNBC. So this truth storm is continuing. You got Trump dumping all this stuff out there, all the stuff that I mentioned, and he ends up mentioning this Weiss person again, who is supposedly a special counsel for Hunter. Trump retruths. Garrett Ventry said Weiss was handpicked by 2 Democrat senators. The special counsel is compromised. He approved the sweetheart deal that attempted to give Biden a backdoor pardon. So, okay, where's he going with this? Then he put out, I'm not going to read it all. I'll just give you the gist of it. He put out a truth about the Washington Post. Why did it take the Washington Compost over 2 months to correct their story? Where, just like Adam Schiff, they made up my words on a perfect phone call. Why did nobody come forward sooner to correct the record? Fannie impaneled her special purpose grand jury, quote, before the Washington Post was forced to issue a retraction. This is a fake news-based witch hunt. And he puts 3, just about full, every one of them, pages of truths, of quotes from other papers, condemning what the Washington Post did. The actual quotes that the Washington Post put up made it seem like Trump was trying to do something other than get Ratzenberger to do the right thing and not commit a criminal act. You heard Mr. Trump say it. I played the phone call. He told Ratzenberger, you know what they're doing and you're letting them do it. That's a criminal act. They didn't put any of that in there. So you got Trump is setting the table with all these truths. And I said, wow, he's only put out 5 or 6 a day. Now I'm up to 30 of them. I don't know how many it was. And debunking the Trump can't win the general myth. So he put up an article from the American Thinker. That is because they're noticing that these crappy news stations are putting up that nonsense that Trump can't win the general election. And then what did I come across? I come across a retruth from Lloyd Brunson, the official Brunson Brothers, South Carolina, I guess. Attention, please retruth and tag President @real Donald Trump so he can see this to help spread the word. This was from May 28th, 2023. And it was a TikTok video of Lloyd Brunson talking about doing a letter writing campaign to SCOTUS concerning the complaint they put forward to the Supreme Court that the Congress was derelict in their duties or committed malfeasance, didn't follow their responsibilities under the law. And most of you in the chats know the backstory on that. So we haven't heard a peep out of the Brunson situation for a long time since the Supreme Court declined to hear it. What was that? Well over a month and maybe 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. It was just kind of pushed aside, but not gotten rid of. Okay. Then out of the blue, Trump's firing off these truths, putting up Marjorie Taylor Greene, her evidence of Georgia fraud. Mike Davis, the future attorney general, putting out the exonerations of Trump and Paul Sperry saying all these other people can be charged with racketeering. All this stuff he's putting out, and then bam, he drops this without comment TikTok video from Lloyd Brunson. And I said, oh boy, I see it now. Hi, Donna, how you doing? MS says he won't win his case. Who's he? See, MS. But Mr. T put it up there for a reason. And you can go to Truth Social and scroll down till you see. And you can play that video. It's a little blast from the past. So then bookending that TikTok thing was a continuation of Marjorie Taylor Greene's former husband's situation in Georgia. And this is a little lengthy, but in response to an open record request by Mr. Greene's attorney, my office combed through nearly 10,000 records related to absentee ballots in the 2020 election, looking for documents that might indicate Mr. Greene's requested a written absentee ballot in advance of the 2020 election. McDonald explained. That's an election official, McDonald. So they looked through all the records looking for where Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband is supposedly had requested a ballot. We did not locate any application for Mr. Greene or the standard. We didn't find a ballot or the standard yellow envelope provided to return a completed ballot, which would have indicated that a written absentee ballot was requested and mailed to Mr. Green. So they found nothing. Somebody did something. So it goes on to say, only a, quote, canceled ballot affidavit completed by Perry Green with a handwritten note that he did not request a absentee ballot, and a, quote, application for in-person absentee ballot were located, McDonald said, namely the paperwork he filled out while he was standing in line with all those other people. A lot of people were told, hey, you already voted by absentee ballot. A lot of people said, oh, and got frustrated and left, or tricked or whatever. But these other people, including her husband, that's all they could find was what he filled out while he was waiting in line. And then he goes on to say, we're unable to say why it appeared from the Secretary of State's records that a by-mail ballot was requested, but we confirm that no documents were located that he ever requested by-mail absentee ballot or that he turned in one when he voted. McDonald concluded, following the update from Floyd County regarding Perry Green's voting experience, Robert Sinners, a spokesman for the Secretary of State's office, declined to comment, only stating, we can't really speak for Floyd County's specific issue as to what was entered into the net system. So, no, they couldn't find any of the stuff, and they can't account for why there's no paper trail and how it ended up in the computer. So this is, tucked in there right with the Lloyd Brunson thing. So then Marjorie Taylor Greene got re-truthed by Trump again. Trump put her follow-up truth that says the information showed that, in fact, Perry never requested the absentee ballot, never turned one in, and was forced to surrender one he never requested, never filled out, and never turned in so he could vote in person. The fraud was in the Secretary of State website. It showed an absentee ballot had been turned in his name, but he never turned one in. Who turned in an absentee ballot in Perry's name? Who typed it in the SOS system? What happened to that absentee ballot after he then voted in person on another ballot? So she's wanting brass tacks. She's wanting facts and brass tacks. So she goes on to say, what happened? I heard that people all over Georgia said the same thing happened to them. What happened to all those fake absentee ballots? We have never received an explanation from the Georgia Secretary of State, and Perry and Brad Rassenberger used to be friends and were even in a men's Bible study group together years ago. You'd think Brad would pick up the phone. So actually, Governor Kemp, there were many problems in the election in 2020. I have all the FOIA documents, and I'm happy to share them. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene's former husband was friends with the governor, and even with the same Bible study group. And, well, people remember what happened to Governor Kemp. I believe it was his daughter's boyfriend died in a very strange car accident, explosive car accident in an area that was low speed. And they say that is what threw cold water on this particular governor from doing anything. So, yeah, I'm not, getting too deep into that, but I am saying that a lot of people remember that. It was kind of like an Anne Hesh ending for that person. A lot of people say, what's the message to Kemp? And Kemp has come out and publicly stated that to this day, that there weren't problems and everything went smooth. And there's all this stuff right in people's faces. And holy cow, I got, let's see, Gary, give me a boom in the, a couple of booms in the chats, if you would. I appreciate it. Hi, Araceli. Thank you, Gary, for going to Buy Me a Coffee. This is a viewer-supported and creator-supported channel only. I've got a link for Buy Me a Coffee in the description. I don't monetize this through YouTube or any other site because I don't want them telling me what I can do beyond what they're already forcing me to do. But anyway, thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. And everybody else that's helped out with the channel. And somebody kicked in last night. Camperman kicked in before I could. Well, I think it showed up. I thanked you on Rumble, but my YouTube stream got interrupted and I ended up rapping, is what I heard. It sounded like it was a mountain man rap. But anyway, thank you, Gary, and thank you yesterday evening, Camperman, for helping me out. So anyway, that's all interesting stuff that Mr. T felt compelled to put all that stuff together. Mike Davis, who's going to be the Attorney General, Paul Sperry talking about the boomerang indictments against all these people who are participating in this persecution of Donald Trump that are in official positions. And wow, the cat said, you got to disguise those words, M-I-M-A-I-L, the cat. I'll read your comment. But the one thing I cannot talk about with the UTISL rules is that form of casting your belief, I'll say. That's one way I can't discuss. Isn't that something? I wonder why. Because they're going to rely very heavily on it. Gary said, boom, pow, bamboozled. So, yeah, you received 7 of them and you still have 5. Well, hang on to them because you might need to show them to Mike Davis. Hi, Rick, how you doing? You might have to show them to Mike Davis. You might be involved in a witness testimony. You never know. So the truth storm just continued, but I was going through them, and when I saw that Brunson thing, I said, oh boy, here we go. And he put up a lot of memes that people are making. They're being real creative and putting up some good quality memes supporting Mr. Trump. And one of them that he put up, I'll get it cropped down so I can show it in one of my picture show broadcasts. It said, and it shows all the creeps, not all the creeps. You wouldn't have enough room in a meme to put all the creeps up there. But it says the people that hid the J6 footage are the same people who told you the elections were fair. And they got, let's see, 5, 10, 15 of them stuffed in that meme. The usual suspects, you know who I'm talking about. So there you go, Nikki. Just spell it B3LLOTS. And M-A-1L instead of M-A-I-L. That would be great. So, there's not much we can do about it. That's just the U-tizzle rhythm. And I'm going to have to start doing what I'm trying to think of what to do. Maybe do a half-hour U-tizzle and then do a bumble jump on a fresh stream I'll do that. Try to do that once a week. Try to do it, and leave a link in the utizzle to jump to Bumble. What do y'all think about that? If that sounds like a good idea to you, and that way can speak a little bit better. But Bumble does have its problems. But I'm thinking that might be my refuge. And if you guys have not, all my new subscribers or people that haven't been there yet, it's all one word, Mountain Man Speaks, one word. You hit the follow button when you go over there to check me out. And if something happens, you'll know where to go. But anyway, another thing that Mr. T put out, bad news for left-wing Hollywood. Cable viewership hit a record low. And the person who wrote the article, Mr. T. Retrue, said, I kid you not, canceling your cable or satellite package does more damage to left-wing Hollywood than anything else. Entertainment, for the first time in history, overall viewership of cable TV dropped to a record low. So, yeah, we got to keep the pressure on. I mean, I remember some of those cable packages. I don't know how much they are now. But whatever it is a month, multiply that times 12 and pretend at Christmas time you got that money in your pocket instead of it going to the cable companies that all they do is use that cable system to infect your brain with a bunch of garbage and the people that you care about. So there's so many different things you can do for entertainment now. You can pick and choose your own stuff. Like I mentioned the other night, seniorsubway.com that my friend started up. Check it out. And it takes about 10 minutes for them to generate a password to come back to you. So that is set up for baby boomers and Generation X, people that are sick of going on sites where you see BLM flags and Ukrainian flags and all this garbage you got to wade through. And every time you say something you want to say, you're getting fact checked or pulled down. This is a site for people that want to enjoy mature interests and they don't want to be bombarded with counterculture and S3 actual themed garbage. So check that out because they got an open part that everybody can look at that's members that has travel, all kinds of stuff, crafts, health, things like that, all different types of things. Then they have private groups you can go in that you can join that for things if you want to get in a political group or whatever. I don't know, sewing circle or whatever. But the rules are nothing that is S3 actual themed. You could be a 50-year-old man in a, what did I say the other day? A Little Orphan Annie dress sitting at home on the computer. Nobody cares. Just don't bring it in. Just don't bring it in and enjoy yourself. So check it out. And if you put in one word, Mountain Man, that's a promo code where you're in there for free. You don't have to pay any fees and you get the gold membership and you'll never have to pay anything. It's a yearly fee that you all won't have to pay. So, check it out. And then before you know it, you're paying a cable bill and you don't even have time to watch that crap. So just get rid of the cable bill and sign up for things like that are designed to get out of the counterculture push, the satanic push, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, I went off on a tangent. But anyway, I showed a video the other night, and I called him a stone cold rhino. and he was saying how much damage Trump had done to the people of Georgia, and that the Republican Party would never recover if Donald Trump were blah, blah, blah. And I played him and I said, this is a stone cold rhino. People got to identify people like this and vote them out, get rid of them. Well, Trump retruthed an article about him, and I'm looking at his face right now. Georgia's Jeff Duncan must be disqualified for anti-Trump bias. This is by the American Spectator, U.S. News, and Politics. Is former Georgia GOP Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan an honest man? The question arises as he is set to appear before the state's jury. So he's going to go up there and run his mouth about Donald Trump. And we've already identified him. He's a bum. And let me just check. Yeah, they've been saying that about the stock market for a long time, Jackson. And like Mark Twain said, Mondays and what did he say? Mondays and Tuesdays are the worst days to get into the stock market. And after that is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So anyway, that was his opinion on the stock market. But I showed you how shareholders are suing these companies that are going woke and destroying their own companies. So, yeah, is there a link to the site? You just go to seniorsubway.com, DeCat, and then when you get there, follow the instructions, and you got to put in the administration is the only ones that know your information. They just got to make sure there's no bots, okay? No trolls. Trolling gets you out of there. It's mature. A site. They don't put up with that kind of stuff. They don't put up with people calling people names, harassing, doxing, none of that. It's a place where people have to act like adults, not just be an adult, and enjoy some of the things that we enjoy now that we're have time on our hands, and get our heads out of the pressures, the misery of mainstream television. So you put in truthful, a real email, okay? It doesn't have to be a real fancy picture of yourself or anything. Just show that you're not a bot. You're a real person. You can hide your last name. You can hide your town that you live in if you so wish. And there's a chat box where you can talk with the administrator, and you probably get my friend or a friend of my friend, and to help you go through it. And if you don't like it, it's no big deal. If you do like it and you find something, that's right, Donnie. You can watch Turner Classic Movies. You can start a classic movie club or a group on Senior Subway, and recommend movies or discuss movies or books or anything. You can put up political posts. You can put up join a group that is pro MAGA. There's nothing wrong with having a MAGA group and share memes. That's right. Bill Gates, he did release millions of them. So did the CDC. So anyway, yeah, there's plenty of other things to do besides have Hollywood sit in your living room every night. It's disgusting even thinking about it. And then I've talked about this topic before, and this is something else Mr. T truthed out about lawfare. I was saying, live by the sword, die by the sword. And we got to take this lawfare and turn it around right back at them. And sure enough, Mr. T put up article, lawfare, the legal precedent behind, quote, alternate electors in several swing states as indictments linger. Because what's her face down in Arizona, Katie Hobbs, is making noise that she wants to indict Trump for racketeering. Boy, talk about the nerve. And the other thing, Mr. T, I'll finish this lawfare thing up in a little bit. But the other thing Mr. T put out was that he is not going to have a press conference Monday about the report that will exonerate him. He put out a truth about that his legal team wants to present that report in legal filings. But anyway, this article went on to say the Collins English Dictionary defines lawfare as the strategic use of legal proceedings to intimidate or hinder an opponent. So, I look for there to be changes in the Bar Association, if they even have one after this mess is over with, where that stuff's not going to be permitted. So let's see. Just checking the chat, see what's going on. Okay. Everybody's keeping up with their stuff. Let's see, what does Mr. T means when he talks about freedom cities? How are they different from 15 minutes? No, he's talking about freedom cities, freedom from needles in the street and poop and pee and SH and that's it, holes. Okay? That's what he's talking about, being free of that. You can go anywhere you want. That's why he's saying you don't want electric cars. You can only drive an hour. He wouldn't talk that way if he wanted 15-minute cities. That's right, Gary. Hollywood is dead. But it's got to be actually stomped out, if you know what I mean. Because a lot of these people have some splaining to do. Here it is. Rather than releasing the report on the rigged and stolen Georgia 2020 election on Monday, my lawyers would prefer putting this, I believe, irrefutable, overwhelming evidence of election fraud and irregularities in formal legal filings as we fight to dismiss this disgraceful indictment by a publicity-seeking DA who sadly presides over record-breaking murder and violent crime area Atlanta. Therefore, the news conference is no longer necessary. I was kind of looking forward to that news conference, but they know what's best, so we'll watch and see. Hopefully, it'll get kicked out before it even goes to trial. And I mean, that's definitely a possibility, because Mark Meadows, as a lot of people know, Mark Meadows has filed to have this whole thing thrown out of the state court, away from Fannie's jurisdiction. And also they are calling for an emergency session of the legislature in Georgia to restrict funding for Fannie Willis's office for conducting these prosecutions. No money, but they're going to take it one step forward. They're talking about impeaching Fannie Willis for abuse of office, and hopefully, you know, the Republicans haven't done anything to help Mr. T, and people are noticing it, and people are bending their ears. What the hell are you all doing, just sitting on your rear ends, or throwing stones at Trump, putting Krispy Kreme up there to hurl invective about Trump? What is the matter with you people? So they're starting to feel the heat. So yeah, Fannie might have to prepare herself for impeachment hearings. So we'll see how big of a backfire this is. And DeSantis, he's wrapping up his campaign. Mike Davis put out, we cut down on event and travel costs. Translation, DeSantis doesn't have enough grassroots support to fill his rooms. So I still maintain that that DeSantis is drawing fire away from the left. He made them spend over $20 million. I was talking about that the other night. And all the invective they're hurling at DeSantis and attacking DeSantis, that's less guff Trump's got to take. And also all the rhino money, all the money the rhinos had been spending and just wasted away on DeSantis. I think he's just weakening Trump's opponents on purpose. And here's an article about conspiracy theories, how to create conspiracy theories by American Greatness. Why do I bring that up? Because Mr. T brought it up. I think he brought it up to get people to focus on what's going on and not go beyond. And it shows a picture of Clapper, Brennan, and Mueller when they put these counter psyop conspiracy theories to distract from the real problem. It's easy to birth conspiracy theories, the article says. All that is required is chronic government stonewalling of reasonable requests for transparency, and then add in high officials seriously lying under oath. So you get a bunch of public officials that either stonewall and or lie. And that is what gives birth to conspiracy theories. Okay, Marla, you're writing a faith-based story. That sounds wonderful. That sounds wonderful. You can, probably start a writers group on Senior Social and get ideas and toss stuff around. I don't know. Take a look at it. Doesn't cost you nothing. Better than sitting around watching MSNBC. That's for sure. Let's see. So then Trump says that many people are asking whether or not I will be going to the debates. So that's a debate about the debates. But I tell you, before I read that, they were saying, well, Trump needs to sign this pledge to support whoever wins the primary. And boy, what a lot of nerve that is. And I see these so-called Republicans saying, well, he should sign a pledge to show unity with the party. Hey, would you trust McConnell? Would you sign a pledge McConnell cobbled together? Or Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan? They got a lot of nerve. They need to be signing a pledge to Trump, and they need to start stepping up and putting the heat on these damn criminals that are constantly nipping at his heels. Because what this country is going through, even just thinking about what they're going to do to him when he goes, quote, surrenders himself. People are worried. Are they going to put him in that rat-infested jail? Are they going to treat him in a disgraceful way? Are they're already talking about the mug shots. They've already made a big deal of fingerprints. This is causing damage to the psyche of the American people, and it's abusive. And you've got every media outlet that I've watched, even overseas, are able to point out very quickly where the flaws and the criminality in this behavior towards Trump, where it's at. It's not until you get into the Western media that you start hearing this unified 4 a.m. Mockingbird talking points. And hey, we can get to the bottom of it. The other thing that is not being addressed is, and this is mostly in Democrat states, a lot of Supreme Court rulings and a lot of state Supreme Court rulings are being flat out ignored by different entities. And I can name them, not all of them, but one is the reasonable limitations states put on abortions. Openly saying we're gonna defy that. We're going to use federal land to perform abortions to get people out of the states. We're going to ignore it altogether. We're going to go ahead, like the one law about not giving certain hormones to children. Well, we're going to do it anyway, and they do it, and no one does anything about it. The ATF. Some stuff that's already gone up to the Supreme Court. They're just going to ignore it and enforce what they want. What do we do? When has that ever happened where you have state authorities willfully ignoring Supreme Court rulings and doing as they wish? That hasn't happened since 1862. Well, I'm not going to say we're going to get in that kind of a situation, but what can the Supreme Court do? Like when Judge Alito ordered in Pennsylvania for the ballots to be preserved, for everything to be put on lock and key and preserved, that was ignored. What kind of recourse does the Supreme Court have? You've seen on YouTube when judges send a deputy out, say, where's so-and-so? He's supposed to be here. He left and went somewhere. Bring him back. I want him arrested. I'm issuing a bench warrant. How can the Supreme Court handle contempt of the Supreme Court? Send marshals for show cause? You have to come to the Supreme Court and show cause why the Supreme Court should not hold you as a state attorney general of whatever state, why we should not hold you in contempt of court. And I believe we may be seeing those kinds of unprecedented actions. Because, hey, use it or lose it. And if you don't use your power and your influence, if you let people run over top of you, you will lose it. But anyway, the question about the debates, Mr. T, he's not going to go. I mean, he should do something like a special, they were talking about it, with Joe Rogan or Tucker Carlson, and really show them what it's all about. Trump said all Americans have been clamoring for a president of extremely high intelligence. And yeah, he's talking about health. Compared to Joe, he's got extremely high intelligence. As everyone is my poll numbers over a wonderful field of Republican candidates are extraordinary. In fact, I'm leading the runner-up, whoever that may be now, because DeSantis fell below Vivek. I named Vivek, and so he doesn't know who the runner-up is. In fact, let's see, Reagan didn't do it, and neither did others. Yeah, when Reagan was the front runner, he didn't go debate a bunch of other Republicans. He was just the front runner. People know my record, of the best ever. So why would I debate? Capital letters, I'm your man. Make America great again. So it's like I had in that one broadcast I did. The only one. He's the only one out there talking about getting rid of this mutilation of children. He's the only one talking about securing the borders. He's the only one that talking about securing the dollars as the premier world currency. being energy independent, on down the line, staying out of wars. He's the only one. And when I see people like this Midas crap gang that constantly put out, I'll go over them when I have a picture show to do. And they put up this comedian, Michael Rappaport, and the filthy stuff they put out about Trump. I'm like, hey, you guys must be nervous if he's going to get in, because he said what he's going to do. He's going to destroy the cartels. And I meant to mention this. He said he was going to do it the same way he destroyed them over in Middle East. What does he mean by that? Well, how he destroyed them over in the Middle East, to use his own words, he bombed the hell out of them. Okay? He used force. He used the military. And he said that's how he's going to get rid of these cartels. And the cartels are tied directly into human trafficking. And we all know what he's going to do with people who violate the human rights of others. They will not own anything and they will be miserable. How about that? You'll own nothing and be miserable. Ha ha, that's going to be our saying to all these people who have been exploiting children or engaging in human trafficking. You'll own nothing and be miserable if you make it. How's that sound, folks? How's that for a t-shirt? But anyway, I will close things out with what Rick Grinnell, former director of national intelligence, he was on Newsmax discussing Biden's flagrant criminal activities. Okay, and he pointed out that Biden has an alias. It's been discovered. He's got an alias called, what's the name he uses? What the hell? I wrote it down. Here he is. Robert Peterson is his alias email. And he's got a couple of variations of that name. But he was discussing, Rick Grinnell was discussing yesterday about the Penn Center, all the money that was going over there, where Biden had a bunch of documents on top of all the other documents he had. But anyway, this director, this woman that was over there at the Penn Center, ended up paying Biden $900,000 so she could be appointed as ambassador to Germany. And they've got the emails, they've got the paper trails, they got all that stuff. And the woman to this day is ambassador to Germany. So what in the world? Nobody's talking about that. That shows you how biased and crooked this damn media is. And that's the first thing that's got to go, folks. So anyway, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. And I thank you, Gary, for helping sponsor tonight's show and or broadcast, I mean. And I want to ask you all while you're here in the chats. I'm thinking about I want to broadcast 5 nights a week. Should I not broadcast tomorrow and broadcast Saturday? Or I'm thinking not broadcasting on Wednesdays and one other day in the week. Should it be no broadcast Wednesdays and Fridays, or no broadcast Wednesdays and Saturdays? Because what I've been doing is I haven't been broadcasting on Saturdays. But there's really not a creator out there that goes 6 nights a week. And I probably will in the future, but what's the best day for you guys? Fridays or Saturdays? Put it in the comments if you're listening to this afterwards. And No broadcasting Wednesday and Saturday. So you want me to broadcast? Well, I can't tomorrow because I have something I got to fix out on the property. That's spelled Propity. Property. That's the way we say it around in these parts. So I got some work to do on the property tomorrow. Marla said both days are great. So I don't know when I'll be getting back with y'all. So that's why you have to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I go live. So Wednesdays and Saturdays sounds good, Lone Wolf says. Think about it and put it in the Wednesdays and Saturdays, Reba says. Wednesdays and Friday, Karen says Salty does Wednesdays and Friday. Yeah, and he goes till late at night. Gary said Wednesdays and Sundays, Lone Wolf says. No broadcast Sundays. That's something to think about. Well, I'll see what people put in the comments and I'll review the chats. Really think about what times you would feel best having a day off from Mountain Man, because I don't want to wear people out and I got a big mouth. I'm sorry. But figure out what days would be good. And that's what I'll be shooting for. Thank you, Debbie. Said it's up to me. If there's breaking news, yes, Marla, I'll be on with bells on. You know that. I'll get up. If something big time, I'll get up 3 a.m. Whatever I got to do. So anyway, folks, thank you once again for spending your precious time with me. I appreciate it very much. You all have a great evening. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.